Everyone tells you that you overpacked, and that's probably true, but it takes time to learn what you personally need and don't need. So just be prepared to reevaluate after every trip. I want to dig deeper in this video. These tips won't make or break your trip, but they could improve your confidence and enjoyment of every trip. Number 1 is use rock straps. Okay, people will tell you this one. Just post a picture of your bike with bungee cords on Facebook, and no doubt someone will come in and say, you should be using rock straps. I heard that a lot, but I didn't think it was important until I switched. I used to use bungee cords, and I read lots of comments on how they can fray and break. I've accidentally let go of a hook while trying to get it tight over a bar, and the result brought me dangerously close to losing an eye. But if they're too loose, they won't hold your gear. Rock straps solve both problems. One end is slightly elastic and the other end is strong webbing. Hold each end over an appropriate part of the frame or luggage rack and just cinch it tight. Tie off the excess length to keep it all neat. I can't believe how great these are and that I didn't try them earlier. Number 2, free camping. In the US, you can camp most places in national forests, but not national parks. To ease your way in, you can find dispersed camping areas which are often free. In BC, you can camp on Crown land, which is most of the public land. Many of our forestry sites are also free. I'm used to backpacking, so I've slept on the trail outside campgrounds many times. Campgrounds have 2 main amenities, toilets and water, but not always water. The only thing you're giving up to free camp is the toilet and the other people who are around. Many forestry campsites are free, as I said, and the free ones are usually more remote. They don't have a host and they're often rougher. But they're much smaller, so they're usually quieter. And number 2, they're free, but you should always carry toilet paper. The U.S. Forest Service sites are usually well maintained, but the BC ones can be less so. Toilet paper is bulky but light. I usually keep a half a roll in a Ziploc bag. You're probably used to peeing outside, so if you end up with something more solid, just do it away from the campsite and bury it as best you can. You should also always carry at least 2 liters or quarts of water at all times, so you're prepared for the night. This is the minimum I consider necessary for one night to cook dinner, wash up, brush teeth, and have coffee in the morning. You'd be surprised at how much water you use. Plus, you're probably not carrying other liquids to drink, so you'll need to drink some of the water. If water is available, so much the better, but lots of campgrounds won't have water, and if you're free camping, you may not have easy access to water. Just in case, I usually carry something to purify water from a creek, but there aren't always creeks available. I used to have a giant loop cactus bag, which was great. It holds about 4 liters and it's strapped securely to the outside of my luggage. But one time I didn't follow my 3rd suggestion, which caused me to lose that bag. I'll explain later. It always feels a little more dangerous to be out in the bush alone, but the reality is that the bears who are attracted to garbage will be closer to campgrounds. I've posted a video with 2 rules for camping around bears. If you follow these 2 rules in a remote location, you won't have to worry about anything. Other humans, well, I can't guarantee anything, but I can't recall a time I've ever met another person when wild camping, and I certainly never had a problem. Rule number 3. Always check the campground before you pick your site. I don't mean you have to get off and walk around. Most campgrounds are set up as 1 or more loops. Just take a ride around the loop and note which sites are open and which you would prefer. After a long day, you might want to grab the first open campsite you see, especially if the campground has a lot of people in it, but it's always best to do a good tour. One time I grabbed a site right beside the toilet because it was late and the campground seemed full, but the next morning when I took a walk around, I discovered there was a whole other loop with hardly any campers. Sometimes there's not much to choose from, and I've got the last site a few times. But when I take the time to look around, I can decide what's the best site for me. I like to be at the edge of the campground if possible, away from too much excitement. I avoid playgrounds for obvious reasons, and I like to suss out if it looks like there is anyone there who's preparing for a late night of campfire drinking and music. And how did I lose my cactus bag? Well, on my Colorado trip in 2023, I grabbed the first site I came to when I arrived at a campground at the end of a long, dusty road. It was super hot, and all I could think of was that this site had the shade of a tree. But after I unpacked and walked around, I realized I was the only person there, and there were much better sites further back in the campground. I decided to move and accidentally left the cactus bag at the first site. It's gray and blends in with the ground. I realized the bag was missing in the morning, so I walked back to the first site to discover someone already camping there. It was early and they were still sleeping, so despite my calling, they didn't get up. Even though the cactus bag was kind of expensive, I didn't think it was prudent to go around poking in somebody else's campsite way out in the bush. So here's 3 tips that I hope will help you in your next camping trip. I have to keep repeating to myself every time I arrive at a campsite, take a look around before you choose your site. If that's the only thing you take from this, you'll have a much better time on every camping trip. See you in the next video.